What you're about to see is anything but normal. Spirits roaming. Patients possessed. And objects moving on their own. Even the safest hospitals don't feel safe anymore. Join us for the creepiest stories no one should watch alone. On January 22nd, 2015, a man visiting his girlfriend in a Paris hospital witnessed a disturbing scene. In the bed next to hers lay a woman who suddenly began roaring and speaking in a deep, demonic voice. The demonic entity started to call out to the man and was plotting against him and his girlfriend, who were nearby. As the tension started to escalate further, the recorder stopped filming, and what happened next remained unclear. But according to the source, the same woman was heard shouting that she wanted to take them all out. Dark, shadowy figure. A hospital patient who was randomly recording went through the camera. He spotted a bizarre dark figure that was standing next to one of the patients. By the looks of its shadowy nature, he initially thought it was the Grim Reaper, having appeared to take the soul of the patient. As the video was shared online, many viewers added that the only reason the source was able to see or record this possible Grim Reaper was because he was next. The fate of the source, however, remains uncertain. Driven away. It is unclear if this patient is possessed or just a wheelchair taking one away. This CCTV clip was shared showing the last moments before this patient, along with the wheelchair, happened to disappear. Judging from the body language of the patient, who looks to be completely unconscious, while the wheelchair is being taken away by what is presumed to be a ghost or spirit. Ghost of former doctor. After a much-reported existence of a ghost or spirit in a hospital in Honduras, a local paranormal investigator decided to check it out. Just before the closing hours, he started recording while moving around the hospital until he picked up the silhouette of a ghost. After the video was uploaded online, a rumor started that this was the ghost of a former doctor who had died in the hospital and now haunts the hospital. However, according to the staff, it has remained non-violent, almost as if it accepted a peaceful coexistence. Screaming hospital lady. A bystander in a hospital in Malaysia started recording this clip after an unknown lady started to scream and create panic in the hospital. At first, she was thought to be weeping or angry about something. Later, from behavior, it was certain that she was possessed by a demon. The security, along with the authorities, were called in to deal with the matter, but they didn't know how to intervene. The possessed woman, who had been terrorizing everyone, was next to a patient while creating a scene, whose safety became one of the greatest concerns for everyone. Not much is known about the incident since the clip issue was handled discreetly. Una Bruha sighting. A part of the hospital in Spain that was closed off temporarily for renovation had rumors of it turning haunted soon after. A local paranormal investigator decided to check it out. The lone man took his camera, entered the closed-off area, and started recording within only minutes into it, noticing a witch-like entity, also known as Una Bruha in the local language, appeared staring at him. Now, considering how it appeared almost quickly, the investigator who was expecting a paranormal encounter didn't want to take a safety risk and decided to clear out. Appearing haunted dolls. A small group of hospital staff who were working a night shift when they started hearing a disturbance. Instead of going alone, they all decided to check it out together.
You nervous? Why are you nervous?
Because it's haunted.
Are you nervous?
Yes.
At first, they discovered a doll that shouldn't have been there. It was hidden underneath the table, almost as if it were up to something, until it froze with their arrival.
Yeah, look at her.
That's weird.
Moments later, they noticed something off in a dark room just behind them, where, after hearing a sudden, sharp movement, they all sprinted away, not risking to learn of what's hidden in the dark.
It did. How do you not see that? Oh, okay!
Drop ceiling disturbance. A resting patient was woken up late at night by the disturbance happening around him. He noticed not one, but several of the drop ceilings that were moving back and forth on their own, creating noise and a sense of tension, which he recorded to report the issue. Judging from what's visible, it is clear that this disturbance was rather a paranormal one, if not the souls of the ones that passed away in that hospital. Left Behind Clinic. A clinic that was being cleared out for shifting to another location, where all of a sudden started to have paranormal activity started. The source, who was looking around the place where things started to move around, from the elevator to the heavy hospital equipment on their own. It became a point of concern for the management, with all the expensive equipment being at risk of damage. Passing shadow.
No mames.
Two public hospital staff members in Guadalajara, Mexico, were having a chat until one of them noticed a large human-like silhouette that passed by. With the room being restricted to unauthorized access, both staff members quickly rushed into the room to investigate. Now, although they weren't able to find anyone, but noticed the operating room equipment that started to move around a lot, verifying the presence of a ghost or a spirit.
Algo, Vete a la verga.
Headless hospital figure. A patient resting in a ward in Shanghai, China, recorded unsettling footage of a strange figure blocking both the hallway and the elevator. The figure appeared headless, as if its head had been cut off, yet it was still clearly moving. Dressed in a doctor's coat, its presence left many unsettled. No one knows why it was there, or how it ended up inside the building, though the source noted there was a morgue in the hospital, from where it may have come from. Haunted hospital bed? A patient from a hospital in Indonesia shared this video on his social media, showing paranormal activity on one of the beds beside him. He added that it all started to happen randomly after a patient who was allotted the bed had expired. Now, even though the body was shifted for final rites, the spirit, however, still seems to have remained around, showing its presence. While most were skeptical of this claim, citing it to be a coincidence while it remains the only reasonable explanation at hand. Appearing soul. Just when a male nurse was done setting up the bed, he started to sense the presence of someone else in the ward that he thought was empty. The nurse began to look around as any normal person would, and was astonished to see a pair of legs of an unknown figure that appeared humanoid but didn't resemble a human. Only a portion of its legs were visible, but no other part of the body as he started to look around. The nurse decided to take out his camera and start filming the unbelievable spectacle.
What?
Records room disturbance. After an old record room was found to be trashed, hospital security reviewed footage while looking for the culprit. What they discovered was this. While the room was locked for confidential reasons, a kind of ghost or spirit found its way in and randomly started to throw things around. It started off with the tossing of the chair until a steel-made file cabinet was opened, where the camera feed died. Many of the files were then thrown down, torn, and even mixed. Now, considering how this was a paranormal event, it seems coincidental, but it felt more like a targeted sabotage. Passing through walls. During the closed hours of a hospital, a motion sensor-activated camera that was installed in an off-limits area was triggered, and it started recording. This is really old footage from October 2nd, 2009, taken in a hospital in Infosys, Bangalore, India, showing the silhouette of a female ghost that appeared randomly passing through the walls. While some believe it was appearing randomly, others speculated it must have come from the morgue. Walking Dead. This woman either came back to life or turned into a zombie. Workers from a morgue in Mexico were coming to work when they left, both surprised as well as terrified upon discovering a woman who was supposed to be deceased staring at them through the glass door. They were unsure if the woman was asking them for help or was plotting against them, so they remained outside the locked door and started filming. At one point, she backed off from the glass, but then suddenly appeared, scaring off everyone as one of the workers who was attempting to get closer to investigate. Hospital Crawler. A viral TikTok clip shared by the account at Terra Remilio has sparked debate after allegedly capturing a paranormal entity inside a hospital. The footage shows a group of nurses relaxing after their shift when one begins filming, noting it is 3 a.m. In the background, a small figure resembling a child can be seen moving through the hallway. The nurse recording reacts with alarm, and the others quickly move away in fear. While some viewers insist the figure was a ghost, others argue it may have been a real child who wandered from a room, something uncommon, yet not impossible in hospital settings. Wandering ward soul. A ward monitoring camera started picking up a partial trail of a visible soul that was wandering around. The camera's field of view showed it moving by one of the beds and stopping next to it, as if it were sitting down on it, having a memory. This appearance in the room, which was kept ready for emergencies, left the hospital staff at unease, since the last thing that they would want is paranormal activity happening around while attending to critical patients. Clinic night shift activity. During a night shift at a local clinic, a janitor recorded unsettling footage that seemed to capture strong paranormal activity. It began with the eerie sound of a woman's cries echoing through the empty corridors. Soon after, heavy objects started moving on their own, and medical carts shifting without cause. The atmosphere grew heavier with each moment, as though something unseen was lurking nearby. Later, it was revealed that the clinic stood on the grounds of a long-abandoned asylum. Many now believe the disturbing events could be remnants of its tragic history, unrested energy refusing to fade. Hospital taken over. It's not only abandoned hospitals that seem to harbor the paranormal, sometimes active ones do too. In Kulai, Malaysia, a night shift nurse repeatedly answered a call button in a room that had no patient. Frustrated, she set up a camera. Not long after, the button lit up again, and the footage showed the bed suddenly tilting upward before the camera abruptly cut off. Elsewhere in the same hospital, morgue staff reported similar disturbances. Security footage allegedly captured a wheelchair rolling on its own, chairs being tossed, and other unexplained movements. Rising Soul. In 2017, hospital CCTV captured a chilling scene that stunned everyone. A body lay motionless on a stretcher when a mist-like figure suddenly rose from it, drifting upward before fading away. The footage quickly spread online, with many convinced it was proof of a soul leaving the body, while skeptics dismissed it as lighting effects or a camera glitch. Still, for those who watched, the moment felt disturbingly real, like something never meant to be seen. Rising dead. Sudden movement from the deceased has long been seen as a bad omen, and one funeral captured such a chilling moment on video. As family members gathered around the open casket, a woman reached out to touch the body when, without warning, the deceased suddenly sat upright. The crowd gasped and stepped back in shock, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Just seconds later, the figure collapsed back into the coffin, lying motionless once again. For those present, the unsettling event felt anything but natural, leaving many convinced it was a sign the spirit was not ready to rest. Distracted spirit. This video was recorded by a guard at a newly opened government clinic in Careless, in Dera Kayangan. According to his account, while on patrol, he noticed the spirit sitting for several nights in a row watching the television box installed in the clinic's waiting room. It is unclear what the actual reasons for its appearance were. Extraction of the soul. A random camera that was left behind while recording caught an intense moment. It showed what seems like a soul exiting from the body of a patient in an emergency, whom the doctors were trying to revive by CPR and defibrillator paddles. Although the visible extraction of the soul is visible, that shocked even the viewers later on, when most started questioning the absence of the Grim Reaper. Traversing elevator spirit. A leaked security camera recording revealed an eerie moment inside a hospital elevator. A nurse, while attending to a patient in a wheelchair, suddenly noticed a strange spirit appear out of nowhere. Within seconds, the figure vanished by passing straight through the wall, leaving the nurse so terrified that she fled, abandoning the patient in shock. When the incident was later reviewed by hospital management, the footage confirmed the bizarre occurrence, but it was eventually leaked online by an unknown source. Haunted ambulance. A security camera feed taken just outside a construction area where an ambulance was responding next to a private residence. Just as the operator left the vehicle, its door started to open and shut on its own several times. Now, some may argue this to be a coincidence. Others believe it to be the soul of someone who either passed away in that area or in this ambulance. On the bright side, it at least didn't try to drive away the vehicle. Recurring spirit. Two amateur paranormal investigators decided to go explore an abandoned hospital as a date. Just as they were looking around in one of the rooms, they heard a loud growl followed by a passing figure that appeared to be moving a wheelchair. They rushed to investigate, but the figure happened to disappear just as quickly. The couple decided to explore and looked for it room by room, while embracing for it to appear once again. However, the clip ended at this point as they decided to call it a day. Visibly invisible ghost. A security guard who, while on duty, suddenly got up and looked like he was guiding and giving out information. Later, when the guard was confronted and saw this clip, was surprised to find out that what he thought was an actual person or a potential patient was actually a ghost that made itself visible only to him. What makes this even more insane is that the guard came into physical contact with the ghost, and he was even fetching a glass of water for it. Chapel Nun. Two YouTubers decided to explore an abandoned World War II-era hospital. As they moved cautiously from ward to ward, they began hearing strange noises echoing through the halls. Every time they went to check the source, the sound would shift somewhere else, drawing them deeper inside. Eventually, they were stunned to see what appeared to be the ghostly face of a nurse staring at them from behind a half-open door. Terrified, they rushed to leave.
What the hell's that?
But even outside, the haunting continued. The same ghostly figure appeared at a window, watching them, and another could be seen on the hospital roof, looming over them.
Guys, whatever I've just seen is staring right at me. What the is that?
Haunted wheelchair. Just when a group of patients was awaiting their turn for a doctor's appointment, they were scared off. A security guard, while reviewing CCTV footage, noticed a hospital staff member who appeared to be running away, being terrified of something. When seconds later, the reason appeared, which was this wheelchair. Initially, it didn't spook anyone until the manner in which it immediately turned around in the direction of the waiting patients. Rising black shadow. Seeing this black shadow, it is unclear if it's that of a ghost or the sole person underneath it. A black and white camera clip showing a resting patient from whom a visible black shadow appeared that stunned witnesses. The silhouette of the black shadow appeared coming out from the patient as it gradually stood up and separated from the body. The incident was concerning enough that the hospital staff had to check up on the well-being of the patient later on. Moving stretcher. From cleaners, nurses, to doctors and surgeons, they noticed multiple cases of stretchers moving on their own. Initially, there was no reported solution for dealing with the paranormal activity, being the usual suspect here, until the issue was discovered to be limited to a couple of stretchers only. The issue was later dealt with by removing them to the open yard in between the hospital buildings, where they would move around still. The mystery of these stretchers moved, but nothing else, if this was a paranormal entity, remains unsolved. Careless takeaway. This looks like an ambulance from the GTA, or at least the visible level of carelessness here. A woman in Argentina saw something she will never forget. While driving down a road, she noticed an ambulance with its side door slightly open and a pale, lifeless hand hanging out, dragging across the ground as the vehicle moved. Shocked, she and other drivers honked their horns to warn the driver, but the ambulance never stopped. Apart from what looks like visible carelessness on the part of the drivers, some people thought it to be a prank, which is a bit too disturbing to be one. Wheelchair patient ghost. The so-called ghost in a wheelchair first surfaced online around 2012, reportedly taken inside the Clemente Alvarez Emergency Hospital in Argentina. The photo was allegedly captured by a patient who chose to remain anonymous. Before the image was taken, several eyewitnesses reported seeing the wheelchair move on its own. Security cameras reportedly captured footage of a ghostly figure, but that information was kept strictly confidential. The anonymous source, however, managed to snap a few photos, which were eventually shared online and have since fueled eerie speculation about the hospital. Haunted paranormal prisoner? A video that was leaked from what was shared to be a Russian hospital, showing a troubled person who seemed to be locked in an isolated room. Judging from the body language and the general vibe of the footage, it is almost clear that there is something wrong with this entity. The source added that the nature of the human or humanoid is unknown, but a camera was installed to monitor it 24/7. Snapped out of existence. A security camera in a hospital's clinical department captured a baffling scene. A long line of patients waiting quietly when, in an instant, several of them suddenly vanished. One moment they were there, the next they were gone. Almost as if something moving at lightning speed had snatched them away in a split second. The remaining staff and patients froze in confusion before breaking into panic, their reactions suggesting this was no ordinary glitch, but something truly unexplainable. Haunted hospital ruins. Exploring abandoned places often carries an unsettling energy, with instincts warning us even when nothing seems visible. That's exactly what happened during a night walk through the ruins of an old hospital. The man filming suddenly felt a presence behind him, but when he turned, there was only darkness. Later, when reviewing the footage, something chilling appeared. A thin figure gliding across the hallway where no one had been. Paranormal researchers claim abandoned hospitals are hot spots for spirits of patients who never moved on. Could this shadow be one of them? Still trapped in the same halls long after life had ended? Moved coffin. In an otherwise empty funeral home in Arizona, surveillance footage captured something that left even the staff unsettled. Several coffins stood perfectly still, except for one that slowly slid out of place, as if pushed by unseen hands. No one was in the hall, and the cameras showed no strings or wires that could explain the movement. While some suggested it might be a glitch, workers who reviewed the tape believed it was something more, perhaps a restless spirit refusing to stay at peace. Whatever the cause, the sight of the coffin moving on its own was impossible to ignore. Pulled-in grave. Tales of unseen hands dragging the living into the earth stretch back centuries. One recent burial seemed to breathe life into those old legends. As a man leaned forward to place a cross on a coffin, he suddenly toppled into the open grave. Onlookers blamed the slick mud, but slowed footage revealed something far more unsettling, a hand-shaped form rising from the soil, nudging him down. Locals whisper that graves sometimes repel the uninvited. Experts dismissed it as shadows or camera tricks. Yet for believers, it was undeniable proof. The grave was already spoken for, and its unseen resident wasn't willing to share. Church shadow figure. Churches are often seen as sacred spaces, but when they stand beside hospitals, some believe the connection is no coincidence. During a funeral in Nigeria, held in a church next to a hospital, a disturbing moment was caught on camera. As a family member gave her tribute, a dark, humanoid shadow drifted past, its arms stretched wide, as if reaching for the living. The clip cut off abruptly, but witnesses were left shaken. While some argued it was just a trick of light, locals claimed it was a spirit collector, drawn to the church by the nearby hospital where lives are constantly slipping away. Cemetery spectator. In Tulcán, Argentina, locals were unsettled by the appearance of a strange woman near the town cemetery. Dressed in tattered clothes, she behaved oddly and made unsettling noises that frightened onlookers. When police arrived, she dropped to her knees before slowly walking off into the abandoned fields. Many believed they had witnessed a restless spirit haunting the area. Later, however, her family explained she had escaped from an asylum, where she had been living since losing her son a year earlier. Though this clarified the mystery, some still felt the timing was no coincidence. Her grief seemed to have drawn her back to the cemetery. Open discussion. This picture and video, taken in a morgue in the Philippines on July 25, 2025, captured something deeply unsettling. Security footage showed a man lying completely still on a stretcher when, without warning, his body started moving slightly. At first, it seemed like a camera glitch until one of his feet began moving repeatedly, almost as if trying to step off. Moments later, his entire body jerked unnaturally, giving the eerie impression of someone trying to or about to wake up. The clip then cuts off, leaving no clear explanation. While doctors suggested it could have been post-mortem muscle reflexes, many viewers believe the man was coming back to life. The video has definitely reached its end. I will see you again with another WOW video. Until then, you can check these other videos out for a WOW dose of entertainment and knowledge.